My adopted son said, "All you do is eat and sleep here, you freeloader." I didn't argue, just turned around and left. The next day, I sold the very apartment he was counting on. You know how sometimes life just slaps you in the face when you least expect it? That's exactly what happened to me last Tuesday. I'm Margaret, but everyone calls me Maggie, and I'm 58 years old. Been living in this cozy two-bedroom apartment in downtown Chicago for almost 15 years now. My late husband David and we bought this place back when Tyler was just 9. Tyler's my adopted son. Well, technically he's my nephew, my sister Sarah's boy. She passed away when he was little, and David and we didn't even think twice about taking him in. He was family, you know, that's what you do. The apartment's nothing fancy, but it's got this weird charm to it. The kitchen sink makes this gurgling sound every morning at exactly 7:30, like it's clearing its throat. The floorboards in the hallway creak in this specific pattern: step, quiet, step, creak, that I've memorized over the years. Sometimes I catch myself doing this little dance around that one loose board, just out of habit. After David died 3 years ago, things got different. Not bad different, just different. I kept working at the insurance office downtown, but honestly, the spark wasn't there anymore. I'd come home, heat up some leftover pasta, watch those cooking shows where everyone's way too excited about vegetables, and call it a night. Tyler finished college last year, got his business degree, which made me proud as hell. He moved back in, temporarily, he said, just until he could save up enough for his own place. Made sense, right? Economy's tough, rent's crazy expensive, and this apartment's big enough for both of us. But somewhere along the way, temporary started feeling pretty permanent. Last Tuesday started like any other day. I was in my pajamas, these ridiculous pink ones with little cats on them that my friend Becca got me as a joke gift, making coffee in the kitchen. The morning sun was doing that thing where it hits the window just right and makes everything look golden and peaceful. Tyler walked in, already dressed in his sharp business suit. Kid always looked good in a suit, takes after his mother that way. Sarah always said presentation was everything. "Morning, honey," I said, holding up the coffee pot. "Want some?" He barely looked at me, just grabbed an apple from the counter and checked his phone. Again, that boy's always glued to that thing. "Tyler?" I tried again. "Coffee?" That's when he looked up, and I swear there was something in his eyes I'd never seen before. This coldness, like he was looking at a stranger. "You know what, Maggie?" His voice had this edge to it. "I've been thinking." I set down the coffee pot slowly. Something in his tone made my stomach do this weird flip. "All you do is eat and sleep here. You're basically a freeloader." The words hit me like ice water. I actually felt my mouth fall open, just standing there like some cartoon character. "Excuse me?" "You heard me. I'm the one paying most of the bills now. I'm the one with the real job, the real income. You just exist here." I wanted to remind him that this apartment was mine and David's, that I'd been taking care of him since he was 9 years old, that I'd worked my tail off to put him through college. But you know what? The words just wouldn't come. Instead, I did something that surprised even me. I turned around and walked to my bedroom, closed the door quietly, sat on the edge of my bed, David's side, where I still sometimes catch myself reaching for him in the middle of the night, and just thought. The thing is, Tyler wasn't entirely wrong about the bills. After David died, his life insurance helped, but it wasn't enough to cover everything forever. Tyler had been contributing more lately, especially since he got that job at the marketing firm downtown. But a freeloader? Really? I heard the front door slam. He was gone. I sat there for maybe an hour, just listening to the apartment. You know how places have their own sounds? The refrigerator humming, the pipes settling, that weird ticking noise from the heating unit that sounds like a clock but isn't. All the sounds that make a place feel like home. Then I did something I hadn't done in months. I called Becca. "Girl, what's wrong?" she said before I even finished saying hello. You sound weird. Becca's been my friend since high school. She's one of those people who can read your mood through the phone. Also happens to be a real estate agent, which turned out to be important. I told her everything. The whole conversation, word for word. That little, she started, then caught herself. Sorry, I know he's your boy, but Maggie, that's not okay. I know, I said, but maybe he's right. Maybe I have been just coasting. Are you kidding me? You raised that kid. You put him through school. You've been there for him every single day since Sarah died, and now he's calling you a freeloader in your own home? Your own home. Those words stuck with me. Becca, I said slowly, what do you think this place is worth now? There was a pause. You thinking what I think you're thinking? Maybe. I can have it appraised by Thursday. Wednesday was quiet. Tyler came home late, barely said 2 words to me. Just grabbed some leftover pizza and disappeared into his room. I could hear him on the phone with someone, probably his girlfriend, Lisa, talking about apartments he'd been looking at. Yeah, but I need to save up more first, I heard him say through the thin walls. I'm basically carrying this place right now, so it's hard to put money aside. That's when it really hit me. He wasn't just being cruel. He genuinely believed he was entitled to this apartment, like it was his, and I was some burden he had to carry. Thursday morning, Becca showed up with a professional appraiser. Nice guy, probably in his 40s, who walked around making notes and taking pictures. The apartment looked good. I'd been keeping it clean, fixing little things here and there. David always said a well-maintained place holds its value. Market's hot right now, the appraiser told us. Properties in this area are going fast. You're looking at probably 450, maybe 460,000. I nearly choked on my coffee. When David and I bought this place, we paid 180. And it would sell quickly? I asked. Oh yeah, location like this, condition it's in? You'd have offers within a week. That evening, Tyler came home around 8. I was in the living room reading one of those mystery novels where the butler definitely did it, but they spend 300 pages pretending he didn't. Hey, he said, actually acknowledging me for once. Hey yourself. He sat down on the couch opposite me. Look, about what I said yesterday. For a second, I thought he was going to apologize. My heart did this little hopeful jump. I didn't mean to be harsh, but we need to talk about the future. This arrangement we have, it's not really working anymore. What do you mean? I mean, I'm 24 years old. I need my own space. And honestly, I think you need to figure out what you're doing with your life too. I closed my book slowly. What I'm doing with my life? Yeah. Like, what's the plan here? You're going to work part-time at the insurance office forever? Live in this apartment forever? That's not really living, Maggie. The weird thing was, part of me agreed with him. I had been just existing. But hearing it from him, in that tone, like he was doing me some kind of favor by pointing it out. So what are you suggesting? I'm suggesting maybe it's time for both of us to make some changes. I found a place I like, but I need to save up for the deposit. And you. Maybe you could find somewhere smaller, cheaper, start fresh. Start fresh. In my own apartment. That I owned. That's interesting, I said. Tell me about this place you found. His whole face lit up. It's perfect. 2 bedrooms, downtown location, close to work. The rent's steep, but once I save up enough. How much do you need? About 10,000 for the deposit and first few months. I was thinking maybe by the end of the year? I nodded slowly. And you've been planning this for a while? Well, yeah. I mean, I can't live with you forever, right? He'd started to say mom and caught himself. That hurt more than the freeloader comment, if I'm being honest. Friday morning, I called Mr. Johnson, the family lawyer who'd handled David's estate. Nice man, probably my age, with this reassuring way of talking that makes you feel like everything's going to be okay. Maggie, good to hear from you. What can I do for you? I want to sell my apartment. Okay. Any particular reason? I told him about Tyler, about the conversation, about feeling like maybe it was time for a change. I see, he said when I finished. And Tyler knows about this? Not yet. Well, legally, it's your property. David left it to you outright. You can do whatever you want with it. Even if Tyler's been contributing to the bills? Even then, he's been a tenant essentially. A family tenant, but still a tenant. That afternoon, I called Becca. I want to list it, I said. You sure about this? I'm sure. Okay. I can have the paperwork ready by Monday. But Maggie, where are you going to go? I'd been thinking about that. Remember my cousin Emily in Portland? She's been asking me to visit for years. Says I could stay with her, as long as I need. Portland's nice, Becca said. Fresh start, new city. But are you running away? Or are you running towards something? Both, maybe. Monday came faster than I expected. Tyler left for work around 8, same as always. Around 10, Becca showed up with a photographer and a for sale sign. You want to be here when I put this up? She asked. Yeah, I want to see it. Watching her hammer that sign into the little patch of grass in front of our building was surreal. For sale by owner, in big red letters. The apartment I'd called home for 15 years was officially on the market. My phone started ringing around noon. First call was from a young couple who wanted to see it that afternoon. Second call was from an investor who offered to buy it sight unseen. Third call was from Tyler. Maggie, what the hell is going on? What do you mean? There's a for sale sign in front of our building. Mrs. Patterson from downstairs said someone was taking pictures of our apartment this morning. Oh, that. Yeah, that. What's going on? I'm selling the apartment. Silence. Long, uncomfortable silence. You're what? Selling the apartment. I found a buyer, actually. Cash offer. Closing in 2 weeks. You can't be serious. I'm very serious. But I live there. We live there. You said I was a freeloader, Tyler. You said this arrangement wasn't working, so I'm fixing it. I didn't mean you should sell the place. What did you mean then? Another pause. I meant maybe we could work out a different arrangement. Maybe I could take over the lease or something. There is no lease, Tyler. I own this apartment. Owned it. The new owners take possession on the 15th. The 15th? That's 2 weeks. I know. I can count. Where am I supposed to go? I don't know. Where were you planning to go when you saved up for that $10,000 deposit? I could hear him breathing heavily on the other end of the line. This is insane, Maggie. You can't just sell our home without talking to me. It's not our home, Tyler. It's my home. Was my home. And I talked to you. I talked to you every day for months about how unhappy you were with our arrangement. I listened when you told me I was a freeloader. I heard you. I was frustrated. I didn't mean. What didn't you mean? That I was a freeloader? That our arrangement wasn't working? That you needed your own space? I don't know. Well, now you'll have time to figure it out. That evening, Tyler came home earlier than usual. I was in the kitchen making dinner. Nothing fancy, just some chicken and vegetables. Comfort food. We need to talk, he said. Okay. He sat down at the kitchen table. For a minute, he looked like that 9-year-old boy who used to help me make cookies on Sunday afternoons. I messed up, he said quietly. Yeah, you did. I didn't realize. I mean, I knew this was your place, but I guess I started thinking of it as mine too. Like I belonged here. You did belong here. You were family. Were? I turned off the stove and sat down across from him. Tyler, do you remember when you first came to live with us? Of course. Do you remember what I told you that first night? He was quiet for a moment. You said this was my home now, that David and I were your family, and families stick together. That's right, and we did stick together. Through everything. Your teenage years, college, David's death, everything. I know. But somewhere along the way, you stopped seeing me as family and started seeing me as, what? A roommate? A burden? I never meant. You called me a freeloader, Tyler, in my own home, the home I shared with you out of love, not obligation. He put his head in his hands. I was angry. Work's been stressful, and Lisa's been pushing me to get my own place, and I took it out on you. Lisa was pushing you? She said it was weird that I still lived with you, that I needed to be more independent. And you agreed with her? I thought maybe she was right. Maybe I was being too dependent on you. I reached across the table and touched his hand. Tyler, there's a difference between being dependent and being family. David and we never wanted you to feel like you owed us anything. We wanted you to feel loved. I did feel loved. I do feel loved. But not enough to treat me with respect. He looked up at me, and I saw tears in his eyes. I'm sorry, Maggie. I'm really, really sorry. I know you are. Can you call off the sale? I was quiet for a long moment. No. No? Tyler, you're 24 years old. You have a good job, a college degree, a whole life ahead of you. And you're right about one thing. You do need your own space. But not like this. Maybe exactly like this. Maybe this is what we both need. I don't understand. I've been thinking a lot these past few days. About what you said, about me just existing here. And you know what? You weren't entirely wrong. Maggie. I have been just existing. Since David died, I've been going through the motions. Work, home, sleep, repeat. That's not living. So, what are you going to do? I'm going to Portland. My cousin Emily has been asking me to visit for years. I think it's time. For how long? I don't know. Maybe permanently. But what about your job? Your friends? Your life here? My job is part-time data entry. I can do that anywhere, my friends. Well, real friends will stay in touch. And my life here? I looked around the kitchen, at the coffee-stained counters and the mismatched chairs and the photograph of David and me on our wedding day stuck to the refrigerator with a magnet shaped like a pineapple. My life here has been on hold for 3 years. What about me? What about you? I mean, what about us? Our relationship? Tyler, I love you. I've loved you since you were 9 years old, and I'll love you until the day I die. But loving someone doesn't mean enabling them to treat you poorly. I know. I know I screwed up. You did. But you know what? Maybe that's okay. Maybe you needed to screw up to figure out what you really want. I want my family back. You never lost your family. You just forgot how to treat family. We sat there in silence for a while, listening to the familiar sounds of the apartment, the gurgling sink, the creaking floorboards, the ticking heating unit. The new owners, Tyler said finally. What are they like? Young couple, about your age. They're excited about the place. Do they know about the weird sink? I told them. They thought it was charming. And the creaky floorboard? That too. Good. This place deserves people who appreciate its quirks. The next 2 weeks were a blur of packing, paperwork, and difficult conversations. Tyler found a small studio apartment across town. Not the fancy 2-bedroom he'd been dreaming of, but something he could afford on his own. Lisa wasn't thrilled about the size, but Tyler told her it was his decision to make. I need to learn how to stand on my own feet, he told me. Really stand on them, not just pretend to while someone else holds me up. The day before the closing, we were packing up the last of our things. I was in the bedroom, folding clothes into boxes, when Tyler appeared in the doorway. I found something, he said, holding up a photograph. It was a picture from his high school graduation. The 3 of us, David, Tyler, and me, standing in front of the school, all grinning like idiots. Tyler was wearing his cap and gown, David had his arm around both of us, and I was holding a bouquet of flowers that Tyler had given me. "Remember that day?" Tyler asked. "Of course I remember. You were so proud, both of you." "We were proud. You worked hard for that diploma. I never thanked you, not really, for everything you gave up for me." "We didn't give up anything, Tyler. We gained a son. I want to be the kind of man David was, the kind of man who deserves that kind of love." "You already are that man, you just forgot for a while." "Will you? Will you call me? From Portland?" "If you want me to." "I want you to. I want to know how you're doing, what you're seeing, if you're happy." "I'll call. And maybe I could visit sometime, when I save up enough for a plane ticket?" "I'd like that." We hugged then, right there in the middle of the half-empty bedroom, surrounded by boxes and memories. It felt like goodbye and hello at the same time. The closing went smoothly. The young couple, Jessica and Michael, were sweet and enthusiastic about everything. They loved the quirky sink, they thought the creaky floorboard was character, and they had big plans for the second bedroom. "We're thinking a nursery," Jessica said, her hand resting on her still flat belly. "That's wonderful," I said, and meant it. This place has good energy for raising kids. Walking away from that building for the last time was harder than I'd expected. I stood on the sidewalk, looking up at the windows of what used to be my home, and felt this weird mix of sadness and excitement. Tyler was there, loading the last of my boxes into the moving truck. "You okay?" he asked. "Yeah, I think I am." "You sure about Portland?" "No, but I'm sure about leaving. I'm going to miss you." "I'm going to miss you too. But this is right, isn't it, what we're doing?" I looked at him, really looked at him. He seemed older somehow, more serious, like he'd grown up in the past 2 weeks. "Yeah," I said, "I think it is." 3 months later, I'm sitting in Emily's sunroom in Portland, watching the rain fall on her garden. It's different here, greener, quieter, full of possibilities I hadn't imagined. I found a part-time job at a local bookstore. Nothing fancy, but the owner is nice and the customers are interesting. I'm renting a small apartment nearby, just a one-bedroom with a view of the mountains. The sink doesn't gurgle, the floors don't creak, and it's mine. Tyler calls every Sunday. He's doing well in his studio apartment. He and Lisa broke up. Turned out she wasn't as interested in him when he didn't have a fancy place to live. But he's dating someone new, a teacher named Rachel who appreciates his sense of humor. "She likes that I'm close to my family," he told me last week. "She thinks it's sweet that I call you every week." It is sweet. I'm thinking about going back to school, maybe getting my MBA. That's a great idea. And Maggie? I've been thinking about what you said, about families sticking together. What about it? I want to do better, not just with you, but with everyone. I want to be the kind of person people can count on. You already are, Tyler. You just had to remember. Sometimes I think about that Tuesday morning when he called me a freeloader. How angry and hurt I felt, how small I felt. But you know what? I'm grateful for it now. Because it woke me up. It made me realize that I'd been sleepwalking through my own life. I'm not sleepwalking anymore. I'm awake, I'm alive, and I'm exactly where I need to be. And Tyler? He's learning what it really means to stand on his own 2 feet. Not because he has to, but because he wants to. Because he's finally understanding the difference between independence and isolation, between being strong and being alone. We're both figuring it out, one day at a time. Apart but together, the way families sometimes need to be.